This video as bonus content, additional content for the week, a final solo GM for Sunless Cell before it goes away. It's a sad day. We're going to lose Sunless Cell, and today's weekly reset GM will be, as a reset, inside terminus. So one word on that. We are in Act 3. The Act 3 GMs are inside terminus, warden, Sunless. So today it's going to reset back to week 1 of Act 3, which will be inside terminus as of today. I'm 90% certain on that. Then it's going to go the week after will be warden. Then the week after that will be Sunless Cell. Then it will go back to inside terminus, warden, Sunless Cell. This cycle will repeat until Frontiers, unless Bungie does any changes to it, which they won't. Those are what you're going to be your GMs for the next couple of weeks. But Rite of the Nine's going to come out, and Dungeons will be the focus point at that point, and especially for me. That's why I've been farming so many GMs, because when Rite of the Nine comes out, my focus then shifts from GMs to Dungeon. Get it? No point to play Dungeons at the minute until Rite of the Nine comes out. So expect Dungeon content when that happens. But in the meantime, he's an additional weekly solo GM for Sunless Cell. With a fantastic build, unbelievable. You just saw the clip. That's amazing. That was amazing. The amount of damage I tank and put out. Incredible. The surges was Arc Surge, Strand Surge, Void Threat is on, Champions are unstoppable, and a couple of GM modifiers not worth mentioning. This build, I've already showcased it, but I'm doing it as an additional run. I wanted to see how this build is in Sunless Cell. And to no one's surprise, it's amazing. Okay, so because of my theme of my armor, I was like, you know what, I'm going to run Outbreak with this because Outbreak's really good. Now, I have done Rev 0, so you could do that and put Rev 0 on, and Rev 0's melting in this, yeah? But I was like, you know, my armor looks so good, I'm putting on Outbreak with it because it just matches it. And these weapons are, you know, very powerful, both of them, of course. And it's the super regen you get from Outbreak, and it pairs perfectly with the look of the build, the drip, and the fact that you get more supers with this weapon. This build is, I've already explained it, is a multiplier super damage build. Because there's a lot of buffs going on to stack to increase your damage from your raid and flux. Let's mention them. Number 1 buff is Arc Surge. Number 1, there you go, you get that for free. This week, although up until reset, that'll change at reset. So you get that. That's one free buff. What's the next free buff? Limit Break. Also, here's my artifact mods while I'm on the page. There you go. You've got them. You've got your stuff. You've got your artifact mods. So Limit Break stacks with Arc Surge, and Synapse Junction from Raid and Flux stacks with all of those things, giving you a grand total of 180% damage bonus to your Arc Staff Super. 180% damage bonus will melt pretty much everything in the game that can throw at you. That alone is enough, but the build thickens because you can get a Sigil Stone buff from the slab, from the last city. You go to this vendor around here, yeah, you go to the, not here, but you go to Eris's Flat. You get Path of Ambition. If you pick up a Sigil Stone while you've got all the buffs going on with Amplified and Limits Break and all that, and Arc Surge, you'll get a 461% buff. I've already mentioned this. That's like there's nothing else that's doing that sort of damage like in a Roman style super like this. It's incredible, as you saw from the clip just before. Okay, so you've had that information. Obviously it's Raid and Flux. Let's quickly go through the build. All right, I don't want this to be too long because, you know, it's bonus content. Here we go. Arc Staff, Gambler's Dodge, Disorienting Blow, Flashbang Grenade, Aspects with Tempest Strike, Ascension. Fragments are highly curated and probably best in slot for this build. Spark of Shock, Spark of Ions, Spark of Beacons, Spark of Resistance, Spark of Focus. All of that stuff combined. Here's the mods. There'll be a dim link anyways. I always give you one. Yeah, not going too much into it because I'm giving you a dim link. Outbreak Perfected, as I mentioned. Nezaric's Whisper, a craftable arc glaive. Go and have a look if you can craft this. One of the best glaives in the game in the energy slot. It's a really, really good glaive. Alright, it's fantastic. And Hammerhead I'm using. Hammerhead performs fantastic in this. Any void LMG that you want to use. I've already been saying this for a long time now. You can use corrective measure, you can use retrofit, you can use the Deep Stone Crypt LMG. Whatever you want, just some void LMG that you like using. But yeah, that was the build on with the run. So here's my last Sunless Cell solo run of the week. As I said, Xaf Raiden Flux. Let's see exactly how he performs in Sunless Cell. So I'm just going to use an amplified Ascension here to run a little quicker. That's with Spark of Focus, as you can see, that's proccing on the left hand side, which does allow you to spam more Ascensions if you run Spark of Focus. When you're sprinting, you get more class ability regen, which that does work with Ascension. This is a key critical fragment. Make sure you kill this first unstop with a 2.2 multiplier. Do not go to the next zone. Look at the multiplier. Boom, to 0. See that? Don't come here. Kill your champ, then come here, right? Don't mess that up. You'll end up getting gold if you do. Okay, so we're gonna get another Ascension here. I'm gonna basically jolt the champ first, or stun him then jolt, so I can get a bolt charge stack on him. And then I'm just gonna take this second unstop in sort of 2 phases, or just about, whilst farming intellect. Look at the super regen there. And I'll just get another stun just to finish him off. And then now what I want to do is just clear out the rest of these acolytes, of course. Clearing out the acolytes and the Arc Knight and a portion of the Hive enemies will speed up the amount of time that the Hive unstop takes to spawn in. If you just wait around, he will spawn in, but that takes longer. So clear out these ads. You may as well, you know, use what you want. This is a very ammo efficient build. You can spam glaive ammo, you can spam LMG ammo. There we go, get a champion appeared, there we go. I'm using Ascension to get amplified. Remember, amplified does a lot of things. You get a plus tier 5 mobility on top of your already mobility. So I'm a tier 5 mobility on purpose. I'm actually tier 10 mobility, technically, when I pop Ascension, which is pretty much all the time. So hunters never run more than tier 5 mobility on Ascension builds. Or a build that contains Ascension. There's absolutely no need for it. Yeah, no need to go higher than that. So I go and clear out that Hive unstop that I've been waiting for. This allows me to strategize later on. Remember, there's 11 champs in this, as I've been saying all week. 11 champions total, but you only need to kill 10 for plat rank. So you can skip one. Whatever champ you want to skip. But I'm going to use an Ascension here, get amplified buff. This will proc limit break, remember. And the ads are less likely to hit me when I'm amplified. Remember the amplified buff. Then I get a stun with my disorienting blow, then go in with the Raiden Flux. Look at the amount of damage it just did. Then I'm going to go for the wizards. My goal is to take out 2 of the wizards at least. You won't take out 3 because you've just killed an unstop. That's a lot of kill credit. 1 super being able to clear out 2 sides of the room and to take an unstop. Because of how long Arc Staff lasts with Raiden, that's huge. Now my goal is to melt down the final wizard whilst getting a super. I want to get a super for the next part. This is all part of the strategy. Look at the double damage bonus. Take an ambition. But I still want to spam a couple more shots. This is Outbreak's party trick. So I'm just going to pop a couple of shots down there just to make sure I get my super or close to. Yeah. There we go, that's enough. And then I'm going to pop another Ascension, get speed booster. Oh no, I don't need to, I've got amplified anyways. So yeah, I can just run through. 4 minutes in. So far, it's doing everything I want it to. But the build only gets stronger as the run goes on. Because that initial section, you know, there's not a lot of challenge in that initial section. It's just 3 wizards, a take and unstop, 2 Hive unstops. That's all it is. This build really shines once we get to the Subjugator and Shrieker Room and the final boss. Okay, now most weapons do this. Now at the start of the week, if you remember, I ran a Fawn poison build on Warlock, and the reason why I ran that is because I knew that Fawn pierces blights, but apparently most weapons pierce the blights. This wasn't until my knowledge until 2 days ago that you could actually do this. Rev Zero does it, Explosive Payload Scouts do it. Any weapon at all actually does it. You just need to shoot at the top of the blight. Look at this. I even ran Dragon's Breath earlier on in the week to take down blights, which Dragon's Breath's S plus in this, but this is really good, this. Because being able to skip the blight room like this on a build like this as well is huge time saving for this. It's a huge time saving on a raid and flux run for Sunless Cell. This is a good 5, maybe almost 10-minute time saving for some people. Look, by just doing this, shooting the top of the blight, you get damage numbers. Yeah, like this. Even rewind rounds procs off that. Take down 2 blights. The doors are open. I'll get a blind and nade in middle. This is part of the strat. Everything's, you know, down to a T with it. Look. Then we pop an Ascension for Amplify buff. Adds are less likely to hit you, and you get a 15% damage resist. And here we go. Here's the optimizations. Look. I get a Disorienting Blow to stun first. Then I pop super. I'll get more super usage out of this by doing that little interaction. Yeah, of not popping super right away. And now look, I've got half a super for the next room. This is good. It means I can actually manage the next room quite a bit. Look at what I've just done there. Take an unstop, and I've cleared 50% of this room, which is really good. Yep, so now I'm just going to use the LMG, go behind cover, and my next goal is to manage the room even further and get a super. Bad nade there, damn it. That's alright. I was wanting to blind these Centurions. We'll use a bit of the glaive action. Unstoppable Force demo, one of the best glaives in the game on arc builds. It really is fantastic, Nezric's Whisper. It's a really good glaive. It's been good this week, because I've used it quite a bit. It's not the only glaive I've used. I've used Refusal of the Call. That's an amazing glaive, by the way. You want to get Refusal of the Call. And you can easily farm it by Tomb of One. And I've been using Rake Angle as well. Rake Angle's fantastic. Rake Angle is the best legendary glaive objectively, but there are other legendary glaives that match it a little bit. Maybe not quite as good, but like the ones I've mentioned, Refusal Call, with Nezric Whisper, they're very good. They're 9 out of 10 glaives. 9 out of 10. That's how strong they are as a glaive. Whereas Rake Angle's a 10 out of 10. Just because of Chill Clip. It's because of Chill Clip. Make no mistake about it. Chill Clip's just running rampant in the game. I'm surprised Bungie hasn't nerfed Chill Clip at this point. I can't believe they haven't done that. The question is when will they nerf Chill Clip? Because they'll have to at some point. Because Chill Clip's just that much more powerful than everything else. Either that, no, maybe don't nerf Chill Clip and then maybe add some more elemental debuff perks into the game. Yeah? Maybe add a couple more. Because we've got Incandescent, Jolt and Feedback, Chill Clip, you know. Maybe add a couple more somehow, I don't know. But Chill Clip is objectively, if you can get Chill Clip on any weapon at all, it objectively becomes fantastic in GMs. Just because of its utility on champs. I've got a double damage bonus. I pop Ascension for Amplify buff. Look at the damage. We're melting the Subjugator. This super is a 461% buff super because I had Blister and Dominance. When the Sigil Stone runs out, it'll go to 180%. But 180% is also a huge damage buff, which happens all the time, providing that you're amplified. But there are occasions when you get a Sigil Stone, then you pop super as well. Okay, Subjugator's melted. This room was really easy. I'm just going to start dealing with the wizards and stuff. And I'm going to go to the left-hand side because right-hand side's dealt with. There's an ad behind me. I've got a shielded wizard, which the wizard now the priority because it's making all the other ads shielded. So I'm going to take care of the Scions in middle. This is the glaive needs to be used for Scions. They'll kill you. That's why you've got the glaive guard. So you kill them with the glaive. They do their retaliation blast and it hits your frontal shield. That's why glaives are best in slot for things like this. On a build that's non-prismatic, glaives are so useful. Also, it's good to use a glaive on prismatic builds as well. Although there's a whole host of other things you can use. Velocity Baton, let's not forget about that weapon, which is amazing. Probably one of the best special weapons ever in the game, ever. Especially with the roll. Yeah, I do still use it from time to time. But yeah, glaives in this are very good, like I say. For less skilled players who have less mobility, like maybe they're not as good for movement, I think for a player that suffers on their movement, they're maybe a little bit older in age, I recommend to those type of players you use more glaives, because it encourages more stationary gameplay, and it means that you won't die when otherwise you probably would have died. Say you use a fusion instead, you're probably going to die on your fusion rifle runs. For less experienced players is what I'm on about. I know this because I've done the Riptide runs and I've done glaive runs, and I can objectively tell you, between a Riptide fusion, or any fusion for that matter, a glaive is objectively far more useful to you in this GM as opposed to a fusion. Fusion might be more damage, yes, might be, but damage isn't really your concern. It's staying alive for those least experienced players. Look at what Sparker Beacons is doing as well. When I'm amplified, this glaive will blind all the enemies. It'll do a blind and burst. But I'm controlling the room here, so I'm going to do my Tempest Strike Ascension combination. Then you can do another Tempest Strike after that because of Gambler's Dodge. This is why I run Gambler's Dodge on this build. If you saw me the other day on the Hunter run, I was mentioning about how you should use Marksman's Dodge with Ascension. That is true on Prismatic, but on the Arc subclass, because you've got Spark of Focus, it's even more class ability energy. So it's actually worth it to run Gamblers, because you're still going to get that many Ascensions that it doesn't matter, and you get your Tempest Strike back. And Tempest Strike's a very good ability in the game right now. I think people don't realise how good Tempest Strike actually is. Years ago it was never good, yeah? Now it's finally good, so why aren't we using it? You should be using it. It's really good, especially combination with Ascension. You may as well. You don't need Lethal Current, you don't need the other mods, yeah? Combination of Tempest Strike Ascension's really good. It just adds a neutral gameplay flavour to a build that's all about its super. So we're adding a little bit of spice of neutral gameplay to a build that's all about its super, which is, I think, in my books, is really good. Being able to jolt an entire room 2 to 3 times back to back in like, what, 10-second rotation is huge. It means you can spawn kill ads and things like you've just saw me do. I've used the super and I've decided just to clear out the ads, and I'm just showcasing to you the amount of intellect I get back when I use Outbreak Perfected. For those people who are acute to details, I have got a tonic popped for increased intellect. Before you mention that, before you say, oh, actually your run would have been better if you popped the tonic. No, I already did, don't worry about it. Tonic loyalists, don't worry about it. I already popped the bottle. This is with increased intellect, which it doesn't add that much to it, you know, because you're getting your super plenty anyways. But, you know, I just popped it just for that extra edge. That's all it is. That's all it is. And I've got Elemental Siphon on, which that should mean that my kinetic weapon, i.e. Outbreak Perfected, generates more Ionic Traces. So I'm getting more Ionic Traces because of it. Not the enhanced version. I've just got the standard version, because the artifact mod system that I had were important. The ones I ran, which I showed you the artifact mods at the start. Okay. So this room's basically clear. I'm going to pop super here now. Make sure when you pop super, you always do Ascension first. Amplified, then super, to get the damage bonus. If you don't do that, then you're messing up your rotations. Also, the combo, like I've been saying for years at this point, is light, heavy. I've got a double damage bonus, which I didn't realise until after the super, but that's fine. I'll just use it with my Outbreak then. This guy will freak out. He's wandering the streets. He's taking mothers looking for him. Look at him wandering the streets. He needs to get to bed at night. What's he doing? And my Outbreak's making him worse. Yeah? He's wandering the streets. He has no clue where he's going tonight, where he's sleeping. He's homeless, this ogre. And his mother's looking for him. Look, he's looking for his mother. That's it. Melted him. It's because if he had not been wandering the streets, maybe he might have had a chance against this Arc Hunter. But he didn't. It's a damn shame. Right. So, ammo check. What's the ammo like? It's not very good on heavy, but I have got gold from lead on, so there's chances to get heavy ammo from special bricks, which happens quite frequently. So I'm lowish on heavy. I'm lower on heavy than what I would have liked, but it didn't detriment to the run that much in actual fact. It worked out okay. The Shrieker room was fine. Yeah, I actually ran the Shrieker room as good as, although this bit's a bit bad. So what ends up happening, take note of this AI. Watch this AI. Captain pushes me, the Shrieker then enrages. You'll see it. I hope so. Is it this one? Yeah, he has. So the Shrieker is enraged there simply because the captain pushed me. The Shrieker should not be enraged. My positioning should mean the Shrieker is not enraged. I should know the differences between an enraged Shrieker and non-enraged Shrieker on positioning. And right now, the Shrieker should not be enraged. He's enraged because that captain was very clever and pushed me. When an ad pushes you, it will change the surroundings of other enemy AI. This is a very critical thing. Been in the games for years. Been in the game since 2017. I know about it. So I'm just pointing that out. And it's very rare that comes up. That topic I'm talking about of AI changes when an enemy will push. Yeah. It's very rare that's ever happened in videos. Like, it does happen. And I know about that mechanic. That threat mechanic. So it's just something to take note of. That it does happen. It's quite a rarity. It depends on your positioning. If your positioning's bad, that'll happen more frequently in your gameplay. If your positioning's good, it won't happen as much because, well, your positioning's on point and it stops that from happening. Okay, so now I'm wanting to manage this room further by taking out some of these acolytes when I see them with the LMG, because they can burst their shield, get good damage on them. I'll get a dog for every taken enemy, remember. So the enemies are doubled in this room, in actual fact. For every taken enemy you kill, you get a dog. Remember that. Now we want to deal with the Shriekers. Outbreak's doing a fantastic job in this room in just dealing with the Shriekers. Yeah. Just because of its nanites, its assistive damage. So we're basically able to melt the Shriekers. It saves time on the Shrieker room. I used Rev Zero in a previous run. I also run Graviton Lance. I can tell you out of all the 3 pulse rifles, all of them are certifiable for this build. Every single one. I've done Graviton Lance Raid and Flux runs. Rev Zero Raid and Flux runs. And also finally Outbreak. The only reason why I've got Outbreak on is because my armor looks Seaver themed. That is literally it. The difference between them all, Rev Zero will speed up the Shrieker room a little bit because you can snipe the Shriekers and you can strategize your sniper shots with Rev Zero very good. It one-shots the Shriekers almost. Yeah, so if you want to use Rev Zero, and by the way, you'll get plenty of super with Rev Zero. Rev Zero is underrated in terms of the amount of super energy you get with Rev Zero. Everyone knows about Outbreak and the super energy you can get with Outbreak, but you can get a ton with Graviton and Rev Zero. Look, it's not just Outbreak that does it, it's exotic primaries that do it. Yeah, you get more super back if you use an exotic primary. That's base to all exotics. The thing that makes Outbreaks a little bit different is the nanites damage is counted towards your intellect super bar. So that's the difference between maybe that and Graviton. Although Graviton, when it does its void detonation stuff, you get super energy off that as well. Rev Zero, you get massive amounts of super energy with that weapon also. This is the time to pop super. When the Taken for All push, this is advanced techniques. This is all intentional. I'm going to aggravate the unstoppable Taken. Look, we've done it on purpose. I showed myself for a minute. And then said, come and get it. And then he come down. And then I was able to... So what have I done? I've optimized the super there, which most of you wouldn't have done that slight advanced technique. It looks risky. It's not. You're just poking around that corner to say, take an unstop push. He wouldn't push if he doesn't see you. The unstop won't push if he doesn't see you. So being able to do that means I can destroy all the Thrall in mid and kill one of the unstops. It saves time later on in the run. I've got one more unstop to kill, which I'm not going to skip him because there's actually no benefit to skip this unstop now because he's going to push me regardless of what I do because I need to kill the Taken Warden. So we can just maybe kill him and gather intellect off him. Super energy. I've got a double damage bonus here. I don't make the best of it. Look at this. I pick it up and I'm like wanting to kill the unstop, but he's not there. He's generally there, so that's bad RNG that. What I should have done instead is just done a bit of damage to the Taken Warden, but I like to follow a routine, and this unstop, I like to kill him before I do that. Yeah, I've got a bolt charge ready. I was trying to do my damn Tempest Strike. I messed up. See, Tempest Strike's a good way on an Arc Hunter to release your bolt charges. Look, watch. Look at the damage it does because it's linked to bolt charges and it's an ability. See, so that's another reason why I like Tempest Strike, because it's a good way to discharge bolt charges that you have that you can't release very well. Not as good on a Hunter as opposed to maybe a Warlock or Titan. for the bolt charge discharge. Okay, so now I'm going to come here, pop amplified so the ad is less, the taken one's less likely to hit me. And I'm just going to keep doing my outbreak damage until I get a super. So let's pay attention to the super here. I need, again, amplified goes in. I'm going to add jolt for damage. I do that with my nade because I've got spark of shock on, remember. So light, heavy, like that. Look at the damage. We're going to be doing a 2/3 damage to this boss. That's crazy damage. These taken ones are tanky. People have complained about how tanky they are. You know something? After the complaints about the enemies being tanky in this, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think I don't think, maybe because I'm on a build that's fantastic for tanky targets, but I guess some builds will suffer in Sunless Cell because of the increased health for VIP targets. Yes. The Subjugator has more health, the Taken Ones have more health, as opposed to other GMs. This GM has tankier targets. I don't know, I like it, because what I remember from D1 is, Sunless Cell, when I was in there, I remember fighting against tanky targets and being in there for a long time. So it gives me the remembrance or the feels of what it felt like in D1 to a little bit with these tanky targets. So I quite like it, because the tankier the target, the more playback loop that's going on. So you've got to manage your terror stacks more, like in the previous room. There's more stuff going on. The atmosphere with the GM as well. You're in here longer, which isn't a bad thing, because the atmosphere with Sunless Cell is fantastic. And it's not the longest GM in the world, is it? I mean, people are speedrunning it now 10, 15 minutes. Probably sub 10 minutes as well, some people. And some people aren't. For a standard stock run, you're doing it in 30 minutes. That's not too bad for a solo GM. That's not bad at all. Yeah, in terms of like a time frame thing. And if you're somebody who says, oh, well, that's a long time, I want to farm this GM. Well, why are you solo farming it? You should be farming it in a team then. There's Fireteam Finder in the game. I don't understand it. Although, I have solo farmed this GM this week, and I've got plenty of palindrome rolls. So it's entirely possible to do that. It's entirely possible to solo farm it. And it's double loot, so one run gives you 2 drops, so after 2 runs, that's like 4 drops. There's a high chance of you probably getting a roll of some sort that you like that's usable for palindrome in PvE. So, you know, I think that's pretty good. But again, if you're somebody's like, oh, well, I need to farm it, well, you should be farming in a team then. Yeah? If you want consistent fire team runs, you should be farming in a team. But obviously the week's over now. So it's matterless to talk about. Look at the super intellect we're getting here. That's crazy, man. And we're doing the pillar strat. The pillar strat's good, and I'll tell you why. Not only does it mean you don't need to move around, it also means that you will do more you'll do more damage to the boss because he doesn't teleport as much. We can get him within 1 teleport, look. After 1 teleport, he's sendable. Sendable to the wizard phase. As the wizard phase starts, it's absolutely in your best interest to use a super here no matter what. Because you know why? You're going to get it back. It's pointless to hold it. Where are you going to take that arc staff super to? In your home? You taking it to orbit with you? No way. You use it because you can get it back so quick. Only a fool would keep an arc staff super like that. No way you use it. That's the identity of the build. Look at this. We cleared out all wizards and done boss damage. That's incredible. Most supers wouldn't do that, I can tell you. Most Roman supers would run out by that time. If you pop a Banner of War, yeah, or a Fist of Havoc, you will not deal with 3 wizards and do damage to the boss. No way. No way. I know because I've seen it and I've used them. So that's bonus points to the length or longevity of the amount of time Arc Staff lasts. Okay, so now we're back to doing nanite damage. Look at the damage, look at the intellect. It's working perfect. We're speeding through this by all means. I'm going to drop down and clear out all the Curse for All with whatever you want. Flashbangs, Ascensions, Tempest Strikes. I've got a double damage bonus on the floor. I'm going to make use of it. I'm going to use a bit of LMG because I haven't really used it yet on this fight. Boss teleports, that's fine. So let him teleport. I'll pick up when he spawns back in to make most of the timer. There we go. So double damage bonus goes in. And hammerhead damage. Really good. but it's competitive to what Outbreak was. So Outbreak's competitive to a double damage buffed Hammerhead. Isn't that crazy? Hammerhead's probably doing a little bit more than what a non-buffed Outbreak is, but only a little bit as a buffed weapon. That's crazy. Boss is sendable now, so don't use a super here. It's the top tip. You need to get on with it and not use a super. Yeah? Because if you use a super, you're going to not have it for the next phase, and you will probably die. For less experienced players, and you can't manipulate around the room, no. It's crucial you have a super for the unstop phase. So, wizard phase is manageable, look. You just take out 2 of the wizards, and then you stand at the back of the map, the opposite side of the final wizard, and do not kill that final wizard until all Curse for All are dead. And you can do an ammo check. Ammo check and double damage bonus check on the floor. Is there any Path of Ambition stones? Look for that. If there is, you can strategize a super and do even more damage. But in my case, because it's RNG, there is not, but that's fine. I've got more than enough damage in my kit to melt the entire room and unstop. All I need to do is have decent-ish positioning, but ultimately you can pop your super right away because of how long it lasts. So I'm standing at the lantern, popping Ascension for Amplified, looking where the boss is. He's on that side, so I'm going to come to middle a little bit and try and round up these adds. I want to round up the adds and the take and unstop. There we go. The unstop seems to come to middle very well. There we go, look at that. And we do boss damage. We've cleared the room and boss damage, but you don't want to do too much boss damage because you want another super. Yeah, for phase 2. Remember, this was plat rank. We did skip a champ. I chose the bridge champ as a skip. Right, that was 5-6 minutes ago, right? Just making it clear, you can skip one unstop. It's up to you which one you do. On my previous clip at the start of the video, I actually skipped the final take and unstop instead. That was my choice, and I got plat rank. But that was a hard clip to pull off that. I don't recommend that you do it unless you've got a double damage bonus on the floor. But that would be presumed that you've killed all the take and unstops and not skipped any up until this point. So it's a very RNG scenario. Like on my clip, I didn't have a sigil stone, by the way. There was no sigil stone on that at the start. Okay, add spawn in. Get the glaive up. This is what the glaive's for. And he's going to do glaive damage. Get rid of the Thrall and the taken balls, because they can do assistive damage to you. Get behind this lantern here. I should have committed to the lantern there. I don't know why I'm moving here, but the glaive is keeping me alive, which is nice. Glaive's invaluable for this phase, especially if you're on a class that has no healing rifts, yeah, has no banner of war healing, you know, no healing or restoration per se. A glaive's invaluable to those classes, even more so, even more than usual. I've got my super, so I'm just going to try and do a bit of LMG damage. I'm trying to get positioning where the boss cannot hit me and I can hit him, which is working a little bit here. We're doing good damage there, that's nice. Champ spawns in at half HP. I've got a super for him. There we go. I need to pop Ascension though. Always pop Ascension right away. I'm full health. I'm checking my health. I'll get weak here, so that's when I pop. But again, you could probably pop far sooner than that, because of how long it lasts. You don't really need to strategize it that much, but I'm looking to do a bit more damage to him. Look, we'll do another damage rotation here on him. Okay, that's enough. Get out of there, because he'll stomp me after the super, but that's fine. We know about that. Always have an exit strategy. You should always save 20% of your super, maybe 15-ish, to just ascension out of there, which isn't hard to do. I'm not making out it's hard. It's not. Some people have said, oh, I don't like Roman supers because it means I've got to jump out right at the last second. That's just managing your intellect bar, man. That's 2017 basics. I don't know. Maybe people need a tutorial on Roman supers somehow. I don't know how you could do that, but I think maybe people do, because there's a lot of misinformation about that. A good tip is to play PvP Mayhem to practice Roman supers. Or, you know, just practice using a particular super for a week. If you've never used Arc Staff, practice with it for an entire week, using it over and over in PvE, of course. The benefit in PvP Mayhem is that you can spam it back to back. I know it's on Guardians and that's different, but at least you can check combinations on the super. And that applies to everything. That applies to a lot of things. It's just a bit of advice for those that don't know how to use Roman supers. That's all I'm saying. The boss is done. This was very good run. Very easy. Nothing wrong with it at all. But yeah, that was the bonus solo GM of the week for Sunless Cell with Raiden Flux. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.